Yeah, hello. Good evening. Welcome to KD TV show tonight. As promised, we are having the last of the four presidential candidates coming on the show today for what we hope to be a lively discussion. Susan Mabera, who is standing by. So, just before we get to Susan in a moment, I want to take a moment to thank the community, the entire Omogusi community here in Minnesota and across the country, for registering in big numbers. We never had this in the history of the organization. The number is high, it's promising, and I can tell you for sure something really, really good is happening in the community. So we really appreciate that. So again, I want to notify you that right after the discussion with Susan, we're having a panel of experts from the community who are going to come on and do a post-debate analysis. They will analyze what the candidates have been doing here on the show and what really we need to focus on the community. So I hope you enjoy right after the conversation or the discussion with Susan Mabera. So let's start off. Susan, Susan, how are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
You look great.
Are you seeing me, Daktari?
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing well, and thank you for this opportunity. Minto Mwanyagetinge Wairirebuya. This is Susan Mabera again on the hair, trying to solicit for your thoughts.
Okay. Very good. So, Susan, I'm going to start pretty much the same line of questioning that I had with all the other your competitors. First, the question is: have you had a chance to watch the discussions or the presentation with your competitors, and what did you think of them?
Yes, I had a chance to watch the interview of my other competitors. They are very energetic leaders. They have the passion for the station, and they are ready to serve Omogusi.
Very good. A week before, we had a show with the youngsters from the community. Did you have a chance to see that? If you did, what do you think of that?
Yes, I had a chance to see our young youths, and they came out confidently expressing themselves and how they feel in this country.
Okay, very good. So now let's get to the discussion about this. And before we do so, I'm going to take an opportunity to personally thank you and appreciate you for the good work you do for the community. For as long as I can remember you, I've seen you in pretty much every community aspect, whether it's matanga, whether it's wedding, baby showers, political campaigns. I want to thank you very sincerely for what you do for the community. And I want to also mention that quite a number of people do acknowledge and appreciate what you're doing for the community. So thank you very much for all you're doing. And then let's begin with the first question here, Susan, for you. Why are you running for this office? And what is your secret weapon to turn around Mwanyagetinge now that it's very rejuvenated?
Thank you, Daktari, for the compliment. And me being Omogusi, I'm going to talk Ekegusi in as well, because we have our parents here who also want to hear what I'm talking about tonight. So, why am I running for Mwanyagetinge presidency? I am running to be the president of Mwanyagetinge because I have a passion in Chebuno Mwana Womogusi. I love my being Omogusi. I'm proud of being Omogusi. And I would like to see my Omogusi organization out there at the same par with other organizations here in Minnesota, here in the counties where we live, and in the cities where we live, who also sit on this on the table with other community organizations. And also, I have a passion. I've been thinking about this. But I have even mentioned this to some of my other community organizations of the community center. I remember last year in Genomokato, but last year I danced Kobera Isiko, and I attended the SDA camp, which was outside. Then this thing has been creaking in my mind. Our own community center. These things have been, could be, the camp could be in a community center hall. So I am running for the president because I want first to have an opportunity for our community to have the community center. I know I have connections and I have good relationship in the county, in the city of Brooklyn Park, in Minnesota. There is no office I cannot knock. So I want to see a community center as Omugusi, where we will be having our social programs, youth programs. We will bring family life, where we will include our religious leaders to talk to our community members, senior programs. All these things could be done in our own community center.
I think we lost Susan there for a moment. So I think we lost Susan for a moment, and Ben, as you work to bring her back on, I want to take it. Go ahead. Susan, go ahead. Sorry, we lost you.
One room as the office. So those are my major things why I should run for Mwanyagetinge president. And also, I'm a good listener. I'm a team player. I collaborate well with others. I have good interpersonal skills, which can help me go into anywhere, and the doors will be open.
So, Susan, thank you. I appreciate the passion and obviously the willingness and the readiness to serve our community. That's a good call, and I appreciate that. But let's do one quick point here, because you've done a lot of good for the community. I want you to clarify something. There are those ones who argue that you are part of the caretaker committee. I think you are called the secretary, and now you are running for the position of the president. And some people are concerned that your involvement probably as a conflict of interest. Could you take a minute to clear that?
Thank you very much, Dr. for that good question. Yes, I was the caretaker. I was the secretary of the caretaker committee. And first of all, I have to give recommendation to the good work the caretaker committee did. But the caretaker committee, my role as the secretary of the caretaker committee ended on June 21st, when the advisory council came in the office. Now the caretaker committee roles ceased. Only person who was left to support the advisory council is the chairperson of the caretaker committee. So I want to make this clear, like the caretaker committee is not in the office, and in our constitution it does not say, like, if you were in the caretaker committee you can't run for the office.
Okay, so good. Okay, good. Thank you, Susan. So there is a real possibility that by next week, this time, you or one of the three candidates are going to be president of this beautiful and wonderful organization. And obviously, in the last few weeks, there's been a conversation about the Constitution. How are you going to resolve this crisis about the Constitution so that going forward, we don't have to go through this kind of crisis that we have at the moment?
Thank you, Dr. A constitution is very clear. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. The constitution is very clear. The constitution is already signed. and the constitution. Members have a right to have the constitution.
Yes, yes, yes.
I think I think the volume, I can't hear you, Daktari.
No, you're good. Keep on. We can hear you.
Okay, so the constitution, clear. It's the constitution is already signed, and they recommended the amendments. The member during the caretaker committee on March 17th. The members had approved for the caretaker to go ahead and do the amendments. So it's just to bring the constitution out to the members, and they are entitled to have the constitution.
Okay, good. Okay, I think that's okay with that one. Let's move on to the next part, Susan. So clearly, you see there is a lot of energy in the community. More than any time before, we have the involvement of women, and of course, the two of you running as presidential candidates, and you saw the discussion with Edith and Neema, which went great and was received very well in the state and across the country. Why do you think there's a lot of energy, particularly from the women and the young people?
Daktari, we say, even in there is one song in Ekebusi which says, Ebintongo Chenchabire. So this is the time the community has seen, like, we can come together. We need to be together. Why are we being left behind? And with the energy of women now, because we have been letting men read. So it's our time, like, things are changing. So it's the time for the ladies now to come out and read, so we can see which direction the ladies are taking the organization. The ladies are out there, in a family. The family stands if the lady is a strong person. So the ladies are coming out fully energized to have this Mwanyagetinge stand. Mwanyagetinge was almost draining. So the caretaker has brought it up. So we don't, the Omogusi says, Omongina, Bono has to stand firm and see, like, this thing is working for everybody. Among some Abangina, they are uniters. Abangina, they unite people. So that is why you are seeing a lot of ladies coming up, because we need the change, and the change we are now reading by ladies. Please give the ladies a chance to read and see how the ladies can perform now. Because men, we have been giving you a chance. Now give us a chance.
Okay, very good. So clearly there's passion with the women, and we appreciate that, obviously. I'm not speaking for all men, but for the community. So there is clear, you have very good supporters within the community. Hulda Mumanya as well has very good supporters in the community. Come next Sunday, the community is going to make a decision of who they want. It's either you or Hulda or the other gentleman. From the women perspective, how are you going to bring all these women so that they unite behind a common cause under your leadership?
Daktari, under my leadership, we have representation from all over. We have county representation, we have church representatives, we have youth representatives, and we have constituency representative in our constituency groups coming in as the advisory council. So working in collaboration with all the people in the leadership. My leadership is going to be members leadership with all the help of the advisory council. I have independent mind, and if I need help, I have to go ask from the advisory council. With all of my interpersonal skills, I will unite our people together. I've always been out there. I've created a relationship all levels. On Sunday, I was with the youth. So wherever I go, I have to use my interpersonal skills in my communication, know the kind of audience I am addressing.
We are talking about the energy and the passion and the excitement with the women population. That's great. So talk to me about the organization has been led by men for a very long time. Obviously, we salute the good work they've done. Tell me how you're going to balance the relationship between men and women so that together we work as an organization. Because the key point, it shouldn't sound like it's now women against men. We need to focus on how men and women work together. How are you going to approach that?
As I said, Daktari, I said a woman is a uniter. I will collaborate with everybody, and I said my leadership is going to be members' leadership. Everybody is going to be on the table to make the decisions. We have all our men, so I will be consulting, and all our men, they are inclusive on this. Everybody is going to be inclusive in leadership. It doesn't matter, 5-year-old will be having activities for them. All of us will be coming together. All of us will be discussing together. In that one area where we'll be having all the programs, the center, all our people will be there, and we will be talking as one omogusi, one community. So you I know mogaka, I know mongina, I know mwana, I ne kichana. Everybody is their value. Their values are valued, and I have to listen to everyone. Each and each, I have to listen I have to listen keromonto to each individual. I have to be a very good listener, as I am a good listener.
Good. So thank you, Susan. And I know I was reading what you want to do, and you mentioned that a minute ago. That you clearly have stated many times there is a need for a community center. I honestly do not understand why we don't have this, but I'm so hopeful that with you, Ulda, and the other candidates, there's clear indication that we will have a community center after during your administration. So tell me about what other issues do you think the community is facing that you really need to address once you're in office?
Right now, our community, we have a lot of challenges. We need a community center where we can do our programs. But this time of COVID, we have a challenge in our community. We have some of our communities who are not accessing the resources. We have some of our international students at this time who are not able to access any resources. So in that, we will have to rally. And I also advocate for people to get the resources regardless of their immigration status. So coming together as a community, having our Mwanyagetinge organization out there, automatically we get these resources, which helps our people. Like now, this time of the COVID, there is no any resources we have received, which we are going back to our pockets. If we had our Mwanyagetinge app running active, we could have had these resources. Our community members could not be suffering. but I have tried my best. I've connected some to some organizations. Some of my community members, I'm glad they are getting some help they need. And in our community as well, we have issues. We have health issues. Some of our community members, some of them, they don't have health insurance. If we had this organization up running, we could be able to rally and advocate to have as a health assistance for our community members, especially this time of the COVID. Also in our community, we have challenges. There is a need for mental health. Our people are not aware of the mental health. Those are the programs, some of them we need to have in our community, because abantu baito, they have issues, but we don't know how to channel them to the right places where they can get the help.
Thank you, Susan.
Also,
go ahead.
Also, our senior population, we have parents here. They are always in the house. If we had this community center, they could be going there, bakwana, batosomia like us, the young generation. How about our culture? So there is a lot of need. We have a lot of need in our community, but if we have this community center, all these programs will be held there. Culture festivals will be held there. Now we are not in a position of doing all these activities because we are bad. Oh, we're gonna go rent the hall to do these activities. We're gonna do that. So we have a lot of challenges in our community which needs to be addressed, and I think this is the right time abantu baminto to go focus so we can have all these things addressed.
Susan, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna put you on task the same way I did to Hulda Momanyi last time. I'm gonna ask Ben to take me off the camera. I want you to look straight to the camera, because we have a problem. The parents, our moms and dads who are living and dying in isolation in our basement, really want to hear from you. They raised us, they're raising our children, but in all truthness, they are dying in isolation. I want you to talk directly to the camera and talk to them. Promise that under your administration, we as a community, and again say we as a community, will take good care of our parents.
Thank you, Daktari. This one you didn't yes, and I will lie and that can and then the Kwaneke Busi. Abible Vito Barega in Susan. And then Tabeke was in Susan and Mabera. If I am elected in the office, community members, you will not regret. The community center will be there. I will bring the Kenyan Council in Minneapolis. I will have all the senior programs, cultural festivals, youth programs, religious programs conducted in that community center. And right now, my character speaks for itself. I've been out in the community doing community work. I have the networking where I can go knock and get at the community center to Mwanyagetinge. If I have done things which I've seen tangible results, like this year, this is the year of census. If you attended the March 7th meeting of the caretaker report, you saw our own community organizations were doing the census, which has never been done before. I mobilized our community organizations and they are doing the census. I have already put Mwanyagetinge under the list of community organizations in Enipini County. I have put one of us who is doing media communication with Enipini County. I am doing all this because I love my community. I am proud of being Omogusi, and I want to see our community prosper like any other community in this country. From my experience, I know. I know, and I'm not a politician. I am a servant. So I know I will deliver all these things I've said. They will be here for us, Mwanyagetinge. I've already started the process. See, as I move out here, I have already started the process. I just need your go ahead to erect me into the office and say, Susana Toletere Community Center now. And with all the registration, it's overwhelming numbers. E koro kinga abantu ntole tayari ko move. Tuwatigaira magega for a long time, lakini ntole tayari ko move. Abaiboli you will be having these programs, and I promise many more will come if I'm in the office. And I don't want to speak like a politician. I'm speaking as a servant. Because some of the things, if you need examples, you can even call me and say, oh, you did this. And always I am out to search for resources for our community members. Right now, I have some of our international students applied for the grants. I searched out and I reached to them and say, you guys apply for this. I have some organizations which were giving out community grants. I reached out to them because of the connection. I said, I have community members who need help. Some have been helped. And if you want to know, if you want examples, I will tell you which organizations have relationship with, what they have helped with our communities, and I'm still going on. Even today, I got an information like, please tell your community members they need to apply for rental assistance. So I'm out to help my community members. Abantu baminto. Support tageteri mogonte inga Susan Mabera twakobekira obisieye tolentere ebintu ebiwato tebetie naende morore osembicha nchege ntunko basaba abantu baminto support naende nkoteba ngatiga tobo omonto oyo omontu n'omugusiyi culture yaitu tegocha gochange toisa komanya history yerieteri Mwanyagetinge. This is the time tobwanana takoba amo.
Quick question. I think you've seen on the screen, there's that question that has been repeated there from Zachary Bosire and Benina Mbane. The question they're saying, you're talking very articulately about the community center. We all agree the need for a community center is long overdue. How are you going to get the funding for that community center?
Okay, Daktari, that is really as I already stated, I have relationships with some of our cities here in Minnesota. I have a relationship with the county of Enipini County. I have a relationship to the state, prominent officials in the state of Minnesota. I have a relationship. If some of you can remember, 2016, you were seeing me out here, moving out here during the campaign. I was not doing that without coming to hold these elected officials accountable. There is no office in Minnesota I cannot knock. There is a lot of grants for things that communities need. So with our overwhelming registration numbers, we are capable of bringing the community center to our Omogusi Mwanyagetinge. We are capable. And I promise I will bring the community center if I'm elected in the office.
next question, obviously. For you to get sponsorship, obviously you need the backing of the community, and I appreciate you requesting support from the community. Tell me, within the community, especially here in Minneapolis, St. Paul area, we have different groups who have their own interests and who may or may not care about what you really need. And I want you to address directly how you will involve these parties. So, for example, we have Mkida. Mkida, they're focusing more on education. They will tell you they really don't need you because they have their own interest. You have AMWAC, they will tell you they are independent organization. You have TANA, led by my cousin Lina Nyamwaya. You have all these constituents organizations. Today we have quite a number of churches. I think within the Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, you have more than 10 different churches who have their own interests. Talk to our viewers, particularly the community. How are you going to bring all these parties together so that under your leadership, we have a common community center?
Dr. Ali, I said in my leadership and in our constitution, we have advisory council. This advisory council is consisting of constituencies, chairpersons. So these are the people from those constituencies who will bring out the need of their members. And we have county representations. So under my leadership, I will be working in collaboration with advisory council, where we have everybody inclusive. We have the youth, we have religious elders, we have pastors, we have every representation. Also, we have a county representation. And as I said, we are doing all this as Omogusi and bringing ourselves together because we have been scattered for many years. And the way we are scattered, that's where we are missing a lot of things. Being as Omogusi, we are now talking as one Omogusi. So Mkida is working for education. They have their leader. But we are having this Mwanyagetinge being Omogusi. This is the umbrella of all organizations. We are not going to be having competition, but Mwanyagetinge is the umbrella. Being Omogusi, you know the word Mwanyagetinge, how the name itself, what it entails. So to bring all this is uniting and collaboration with all their leaders of these other organizations. And as I said, everybody should be on the table. The decisions will be made on the table. Everybody should be listened, and their opinions are valued.
Susan, I appreciate that. I think you can see the comments. People are in agreement with what you're saying, and obviously there'll be discussion further than that. Now, let me switch you briefly here and talk politics. You said you're not a politician, but actually you are a politician. Let's talk about politics. Now, and of course, I salute your mom. People don't know that your mom was a respected counselor in Kenya. So, we salute mom for raising you to be such a wonderful leader, and the community is obviously proud of you. So let's talk politics for a moment. For a long time, all community meetings, we've been talking about Kenyan politics. Let's go home, run politics, whether it's Odinga, whether it's Kibaki, whether it's Uhuru. Now, I think it's time that we change, and you and I have had this conversation, we change to talk about politics here. Why should our people get involved in the politics of this country, and more specifically the country of this state, the politics of Minnesota?
Thank you, Dr. Ali. I said I'm not a politician because I am a politician. My blood is, I'm born from a politician family. And I said I use the word politician because most of the politicians, they say things which they don't do. They want to please people so that they can get the votes. That's why I use the word politician. But yes, I agree. But I can also say this is shifting. From 2016, our community have accepted. They started getting involved in this, in politics of this country. You saw the campaign we did on 2016. Our own came out. Now it's another time. We have two candidates. Actually, we have two candidates going for city councils. So, and our community members, they have registered to vote. And they got involved in campaigning. That was the first time our people got involved. I saw people doing door knocking. I saw people going to do civic engagement. Remember, our people left here, Brooklyn Park. They went all the way to Shakopee. So that was a sign to me, like they are ready. And they are nowadays they talk about the politics of this country. And I know our people, they have to talk the politics of here, because now we are shifting, like we are not going back to Kenya. We have children here. We have the young generation. Our young generation are not going back. So we have shifted that culture, like we are here to stay, and this is where we need to do the things. Those are our civil rights. So that is how our community is getting involved. They just need a little inch to push them. And it's very unfortunate, like COVID came. Actually, I had an appointment to bring the Attorney General to our community so he can educate us more on the civil rights. But unfortunately, the COVID came. But still, the appointment, I have it. Anytime this subsides, we will have the Attorney General come talk to us. So I'm so excited to have seen our two candidates running for the City Council of Brooklyn Park. And I encourage more to do the same. Thank you, Dr.
Okay. So thank you for mentioning that. We have to salute and celebrate our own. Obviously, Mayor Muko, we want to thank him for making the bold move to give it a trial. We salute him. We also salute Janet Kitui, who is running, I think that's from Hopkins. We salute that. And I think Henry Momanyi, who was as well running for Brooklyn Park. So we need to celebrate and salute ours. So we take that opportunity. And also, Susan, you and I talked about Keith Harrison. He doesn't have to wait for COVID-19. KDL TV welcomes him anytime. If he wants to come on the show here tomorrow, we'll be very ready to grill him up, and because we need to hear our voices really hard. So we're welcoming him anytime he wants to come on. So let's move on to another second last topic. I'm going to talk to you about, Susan, about spirituality, religion. How would religion and spirituality play a role in your leadership?
Thank you, Dr. Everything without God. We always put God first. So there will be some times we have challenges, but when we look up to our God, the pastors giving us spiritual food. So, some of our people, you can be so down, but when somebody reads a verse for you, you are uplifted.
So looks like we lost Susan for
More often, because we are running away from God. So our religious, they come in as an advocate for us. They give us the spiritual guidance with the verses. They give us encouragement, and they will be giving education on family life. So family life education, like I commend my sister Rhoda Moronge. She's really trying. She's doing a recommendable job. So if we get all the religious leaders, our families will be stronger, and we will be like one as we used to be.
we're heading to the end here in the next few minutes, Susan. And I also want to ask, they will take me off the camera, and I wanted you to talk, because the key point here, we are hoping that after the elections, that whoever wins, we are going to support that person. I want you to look straight to the camera and talk to your competitors and all the other aspirants for other positions, the need for unity going forward.
Sorry. Election, we are running because we want to serve our community. Whoever is elected, that is the community's choice. I myself, Susan, if I'm not elected into the office, I will still keep doing my community work. I will keep supporting the elected leaders into the office. And not being elected won't stop me from serving my people. I will be still supporting the elected leaders in the office. I will be a good servant to the community, as I have always been. And I would be, in whichever way, I will offer myself whichever way they need me to support them. I'm always willing, and I go beyond to support anybody who needs my help.
The same question that I've asked all the other candidates who have come up on the show. You've listened to and I've talked to those ones who've been in the office before. It's one thing to talk, it's another one to do. So the demands of the office might be emotionally and psychologically challenging. So here's a question for you, my sister. Are you emotionally and psychologically prepared for this?
Dactaria was long time ago when I started doing community work, because it involves a lot. It's voluntary work. You move from places to places. If you have to serve, you have to move. Even this time of COVID, I move around. I go out where I hear some events, community events. I go sign people up for census. Community work is very involving. You have to create time for it. You have to be resilient for it. You have to be ready and prepared. Sometimes it's a challenge, but you have to be ready and prepared before you come out and say, I want to do community work.
Good, thank you. So, Susan, on a lighter note, before you make your closing statement, on a lighter note, and during COVID-19 and the aftermath of George Floyd, obviously things have changed. Tell our viewers what you eat and what you do to keep you going.
What I do as a person, I do a lot of consultation, and I do a lot of collaboration. I create relationship. Those relationships the relationship I've created out with other communities, organizations. That gives me the morale. You know, when you have somebody saying, oh, we can do this, so it becomes easy. We are right now Ntebe advocacy about how people are treated at places of work. So you advocacy towards opioid overdose. You have to have the power to push those things. You have to be patient. You have to create your time to create a relationship, to create a collaboration, and you have to go beyond your reach. Sometimes you have to go get training on how to do these things. You have to have time for that. So that has really pushed me. And you have to have the people you talk to when you feel like, Oh, how am I going to do this? Don't let it sit on you. Talk to somebody. That's why you have to create a relationship. Oh, I had this. How do we handle this? Somebody gives you the advice. Oh, we can, if you go to this route, yeah, that's a good route. So creating relationship and being a good listener and the experience itself. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Susan, now you can look straight to the camera and within the next 1 minute or 2 minutes, make your closing statement, please.
Abantu baminto Mwanyagetinge. Naende nairanire somole bono maragoba. Kobasabanga nchole imbomorayo ino otenti ase Mwanyagetinge. Tintageti gotebe bingo chigokora muna na bibi biragero mbeke obisi ebina korire biokankoro kibire. If you elect me to the office abantu baminto, you will not regret. Baminto litukolie talikia yemo and chitalikibere akero musubati okoro kusuza ni Mabera kura yao yobo president bwa Mwanyagetinge toleterwe community center tochake all the social programs ase community center ye tolete Washington office ye gotoe bibande etoke Minneapolis ere in one of the offices ase community center yaito tolente financial transparency ase ekiombe gyaito kya Mwanyagetinge tolete economic empowerment ejitora chake none credit union kekonya abantu baito konyora chiron bagore chinyomba. That is investment. Abantu baito mental health ekolerwe ase a community center yaito religious education ekolerwe ase community center yaito youth programs chikolerwe ase community center yaito. Like on Sunday yekarona aende St. Louis Park korore bichana byari wako mupira ena kumetinge bichana byaito mbibwati nonyene chi uniform che wako mupira ebina bye bintu tobwana nata gokora minto buno omugusi naende buno Mwanyagetinge baminto nchole tinkoleta machaye ase community gochagotene naiga gusabe community chikura narorire egento ndoche ntagete gokora ase community nimbwate chingaki gombwate chinse chionsipi chiogokora ebintu ebi ase community yaito tayari nkosokande nabikora ebibone community yaito monchore iga ekene ebintu ngokora nkobireta gocha biche nyomba minto ekiagara ase biri nakorire una nateba ebine ebintu ngokora ntarabeku obisi eratoka rende nabekiru obisi mbiri bimorocha abantu baminto ndareta ase community yaito lakini nchore buno omorayo ino president yaino ya Mwanyagetinge naende natebire naende natebire nahakikishire nga tinko bare down a community center goiketo ko chi program ichi goikachigendera naende nche obogambi bwane obora abo bogambi inwa abanyene Mwanyagetinge moko gamba taringo chari mbatebi ege inkwane ni inu moko gamba Mwanyagetinge obuna bwo borayi mbatebe tabagusinga kiyasinyire nchera maate nyerigeri nchera rogoro ono rende ke ateka njache kanyerigeri nchera ya rogoro naande ni nchera maate baminto bagusi baminto Mwanyagetinge akere Susan Mabera ekura yao litukerie tarikia yemo nechitarikibere morore binte bibuna bigocha se community yaito mbuya mono gakio mugusio minto mbuya mono Mwanyagetinge yaito.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, Susan. Thank you. Appreciate for that closing statement. I think our people had that. Thank you very much. I think that will conclude this section. Susan, thank you for the good work you do for the community. We appreciate you. I think you made your case. I think people are listening. What we'll do next, we're going to have a short break. After we're done with that short break, we're having a panel of panel of experts, you will say, from a committee. We're going to do a post debate or discussion analysis. So we are up next. We'll have Dr. Edwin Bogongo, Dr. Gerald Nyachai, and Mrs. Sarah Okindo, who will join us shortly. But Susan, thank you so very much, and we wish you well in the campaign trail.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Can I make one announcement, Dr. Ali?
Please do. Please do.
Okay, please, there is a grant which is helping our people. So I will send out the link tomorrow. It's about rental assistance. Ande telikobolinga no bwena takobenseye gosito bwena tikobenseye abantu baminto komoranje chibesenchirure apply onye gotagete obokonyi gwakana asomenye.
Okay, it sounds like we lost Susan there, but I think she was making a point. We might try to have her back on in a moment. So I think it's high time we can move on, Ben, and bring the panelists, if you will. So, okay, Pen is working on to bring on the panelists. Obviously, we're having Dr. Bogongo, Dr. Nyachai, and Ms. Okindo. We're going to do a post-debate analysis of what has transpired today and what the other candidates did in the last few discussions that we've had on. But, okay, so we have Dr. Bogongo on. Do we have Dr. Nyachai and Sarah on? Do we have them on?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, good. So good to see you, Dr. Bogongo. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good to see you. Hey, Sarah, are you on?
You.
Yes, I'm on.
Yes, good to have you as well. And Dr. Nyachai, do we have you on? Do we have Jared? Okay, so hopefully Jared joins on. So let's begin. Edwin and Sarah, thank you for joining us. Obviously, something good is happening in the community. So we thought it wise, after the candidates have had their time, they've obviously made their case, the people will have to decide. But meanwhile, we need to have the views, independent views from the community. So, yeah. Let's see. So far, Edwin, how have they done so far, in your view?
Well, first of all, just to congratulate KDR TV and you, Dr. for creating an avenue where we can engage each other, engage the community. I think this is an excellent way to have people realize how important a strong community is. And, you know, we always say elections matter. And this particular time, I think the candidates are coming out to really articulate what a lot of people from Kisi have been yearning for: some order in our community, some representation, and it aspire for a higher purpose than just aggregating together for fundraisers, for funerals, and so on. So I'm very impressed by the countenance that the candidates are showing and some of the ideas they're bringing forth, which I think is very refreshing.
Okay, thank you, Edwin. And then we also have Sarah. Sarah, so far, what's your take? How have the candidates done so far?
First of all, as Dr. Bogonko just put it, I would just want to thank KDR TV for your good job, and Dr. Okari too. So far, I can see the passion. The one thing that I see here is the passion to serve, the passion for the community, the passion for change. If we are to ask how they've done fabulous. The only thing is that we're going to look at today is how did they do in the needs of the community, because there's a bigger picture of the passion and there's the needs of the community. Otherwise, overall, they did great.
Thank you. So do we have Jared on? I'm not sure we have Jared on. I think we're trying to work on the technical part to bring him on. Whenever he joins, that's fine. So let's engage here in a most objective way. I think Sarah puts it right. The reason why we have this post debate analysis is to be as objective as we possibly can. And I want to make it clear to the viewers that we're not here to support any candidate. Our role here in the post debate analysis is to look at how they performed and the issues that our community really is facing right now, and how we should move forward as a community. So far, let's go step by step. Edwin, if you've had a chance to watch the candidates, let's start with Susan, who just finished a moment ago. How did she do, and what were the highs and the lows?
You know, I think she hit a lot of good points. Talking about the value of the community, she talked about the need for us to rise above pettiness and build strong relationships. She talked about the need for us to have a community center so that we have the ability to aggregate as a community and talk about building ourselves. The idea that people are returning to Kenya, I think, is now a myth. You know, and she hit the right points. We can't grow as a community if we don't look at the variety of things that I would call pillars of building a strong community. And also just to congratulate, I think it takes a lot of courage. I think we know we are from a very male-centric background, and for her to sort of step up, I think is very refreshing. And I know some of her points were very altruistic, and maybe some people are saying, well, why are you aiming too far? I think that's what is very, very appealing. I think you have to have these audacious goals so that people can rise and not think about the simple things we have done so far. So I think she did a really good job articulating those.
Very good. So I think now we have Dr. Ndimo. Ndimo, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, so thank you, Jared. Thank you so much for joining us here. Obviously, we were going on having a post-debate analysis, and the goal here is not to favor anybody, but to really look at these issues in a most objective way. And particularly for you've led the organization and you've moderated this discussion. So far, how have the candidates done, in your view?
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to give a quick post-debate or even the electioneering period analysis, if you will. I think we have very quality candidates that have put themselves their foot forward, and I think the organization is in for the good days are coming, and it's about time for the organization to stop talking about the good old days. I think I'm less assured that the candidates are really talking about the future, and I think we had a lag somehow. Like any organization, they have ups and lows and downs. I think the future is looking great. I think Susan, to talk about Susan is a candidate and how she was putting those points forward. I think she was right on. I think she was able to give a view and a vision of where she wants to take the organization, the direction in which she wants to take this on. And I think if people are able to bring out a very clear vision of where they are taking the organization, I believe we can really support them. And I think the competitiveness of this race is coming very clear, and it is getting to a situation where the community is now able to select who they will be voting for. And if you will, I think the empowerment of the community is what we are looking forward to seeing. And I think they hit those very good points about empowering our people and looking at their current needs, meeting the people in their current needs. And that's very critical. However, we're looking forward to seeing where we will be in the next 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years, and 50 years, and see it on those points that we are here to say. And that's very critical.
Good analysis there. So, Sarah, so let's focus on Susan for a moment. What do you think? What were the highs and what were the lows?
First of all, I listened to her articulately. I mean, just given the other candidates too. But listening to Susan, she did hit the points, and I agree with my other analysts. She did hit the big points. And the biggest one of all of them, the one that I looked at, was the community center, because it has been a problem. That was a major point because it is a need that the community does have. She did hit education. She did talk about youth empowerment partially. The only one thing that I did not hear her talk about is combining smaller groups and making them larger. So we're talking about Basi, we're talking about Bomachoge, we are talking about all these small groups and how she plans to put them together. That I did not catch her talking about it. So if I would say that there was a low, it is just that the fact that that point was not covered, because it literally encapsulates every person in the community. Other than that, the debate was I mean, it was, her presentation was great.
Good. So let's go back. Thank you, Sarah. Let's go back to Edwin. Edwin, did you have a chance to see the other candidates?
Unfortunately, I had technical issues, so I didn't manage to get in to see the other candidates.
Candidates. Let's move on. Obviously, to Jared. Did you watch? Let's talk about Ulda for a moment. What were highs and lows, Jared?
I did not unfortunately watch her in the KT LTV, but I did interview her the last, I think, a few days ago, and she's very passionate, just like Susan, and I think the women are stepping forward, and I think she's putting a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm behind this organization. I think she's equally a qualified candidate, I would say, and she has a compelling story to tell. Her story about having come here when she was 9 years old, and staying really connected to the community from the age of 9, and still wanting to read the organization. It's a very compelling story. So I believe she also has a great story to tell, and that story is a story you cannot take away from her.
What were, again, nothing against her, but from what you've seen, and obviously we all have to learn and improve. Where do you think she should improve on?
I am a very futuristic person who normally looks at the strength of a person and pushes on that. And I think she's very strong in articulating what she believes in. And I think that's great for her. And well, I think people are saying, talking about her youthfulness and reading a community that has people who perhaps who are very engaged and active, and people perhaps the age of her father. And that's where her strength might come from, because she's now coming in as a youth who is energetic, but all the need for her to know how to connect and build this bridge is, I think, is the ones we can work on.
Thank you. And Hulda, Charles, Jared, and Susan, please don't take this personal. This is for the good of the community, so please don't take it personal. We have to be as objective as possible. Sarah, I'm going to bring you in, and let's focus on Hulda. What were highs and lows?
For Hulda, as a youth, amazingly, I mean, she did an amazing job, just as Susan did. I mean, all the candidates, I want to say, just did an amazing job presenting themselves or presenting their case. The one thing that I observed about Hulda is the vast experience that's a little bit different from Susan's. So for Susan, she has a great experience, and she really did put it out because she is in the political arena. She knows the doors. She knows everybody out here. We're talking politically, we're talking community-wise, etc. Hulda grew in it. So there's this vast difference between the two that really brings the strength between both of them. With Hulda, I liked the fact that she talked about how she grew up from home. So she came here when she was 9, grew up in the United States, saw the challenges that the Kenyan community is going through, was able to embrace that, and is ready to make a change in that. That was a high for me. And especially the fact that she really did talk about bringing the youth into the political arena, because honestly, we want to talk about this. The past, what we've had in the past, we've had mostly AIDS. our beloved men, most of them are the ones who are in the politics. You know, we don't have our women, we don't have our wives, we don't have our sisters in there, and that is not that's the truth. So having to bring somebody who is younger and the passion that she has for it, that is exactly what I really did see. That was a high for her. If we are talking of a law, and we can say it all comes with experience. She did hit the points of what she's got experience in, okay? And we cannot really, as Nyachai said, we cannot put a tag on her and say, why didn't you address this given that she has not yet gotten there? So we are futuristic and looking at that this is something that she might want to touch base in, but I would really have wanted her to touch mostly a little bit about relationships, marriages. It's not something that she might have an experience on, but it is something that I did hear her talk about, but not really in depth at the time.
We talk about the gentleman, Dr. Bogongo, you didn't have a chance to watch these others, but let me stick with the ladies first. What does it mean? There's a sense of excitement from the women in our community, who, quite frankly, economically and socially are the backbone of our community. What does this really mean, that the women are more involved, and going forward, what does it mean to the community? Edwin is muted. Still muted, Edwin.
Yeah, so I think that in any community where women are actively involved, the research already is there. It shows that those communities do better, right? So I'm very excited to know that we have women in our community are very active. And the wider reality is that they're going to school, they are trying to uplift their families. And it also means that the men in our community have to pause and support them and not feel threatened and that sort of thing. To be honest, if you look at how our community has gone, it's refreshing that we have to think differently about how the community grows. And empowering the women in our community is part of that. So from my standpoint, I think we should look this as a very positive development, because again, the research shows where women are active, where women have gone to school and they are well resourced, the communities always do better, and we are not different.
I want to bring in Sarah makes a very good point relative to the laws, and obviously they're going to have a chance to improve on this. The women are doing okay so far in the campaign, but the men have dominated for a long time. How do we move forward together so that it doesn't become a war between men and women as a community? Jared.
From where I see it, I don't think it's really coming down to between men and women. I don't see it that way at all whatsoever. Again, if we start dividing ourselves about men and women, or youth and old, or constituency as a constituency, I think we are missing the whole picture here. The whole picture is about empowering our community to get the resources we need to build a future for our children and grandchildren, because we are here to stay. So in my opinion, we should pivot from focusing on the change of the person running. Let's focus on what they can bring to the table. I think that is more critical than it is looking at her as a woman or a man. I think that's my opinion. It's very critical. We stay away from saying that Susan is a woman, or Ulda is a woman, or Charles is a man and a man can do it, or Jared is a man and a man can do it. I think let's focus on what they can bring to the table and for them on the merit.
Very good, thank you. So, Sarah, I'm going to bring back on here and ensure you've watched the other candidates. Let's talk about the gentlemen, and let's begin with Charles Maisiba. What were the highs and lows?
I did not have a chance to watch Charles Maisiba, but I did watch the other candidates, so I might not speak about Charles's highs and lows for now.
The candidate, Jared Waro.
I did listen to him, and he is a great candidate. The one thing that I did notice that he talks more about community unity, like unifying the larger community. The laws that I did experience when I listened to him, most of the parts that he hit, he did the ends about the youth, bringing in the youth, about putting mostly unifying the community as a whole. The part again, and this goes for all the 4 candidates, they did not hit the big major problem that we know has hit our community, and that is our marriages. They did not hit the single parenthood. They did not hit points on education. They did not hit points on the current COVID-19 and what the future has for us. I mean, this goes for all of them. And the reason why I feel like this is very important to us is because it's current. You know, we can talk about what we would want to do in the future, and that can really help. We can talk about the community centers. We can talk about, you know, youth empowerment. But if we don't talk about our health, our education, the foundation of what makes us to be who we are, the definition of being Mwanyagetinge, the definition of being Omogusi, if we don't hit those key points, that really takes it away from Mwanyagetinge as an entity, and it becomes just a political, you know, agenda. So that is the part that I think all the 4 candidates, the 3 that I listened to, did not hit. And so for the most part, that was a low for me.
Okay, good. So Edwin didn't have a chance to watch the gentlemen, but Jared, you did interview them. So can you make a comment about both of them, Charles and Jared, their highs and lows?
Yes, I have had an occasion to meet with Charles in different forums, and I think he has a very great passion for. He's a people person. He really naturally fits into helping people, which is Mwanyagetinge is all about. And Jared is he has a passion. He's very young. He has the energy. He has the youthfulness. He has this coming around his way. Although he has less experience in the community, I believe he came out as a person who has a great future. He may not get it now, but he will get it. I believe he's getting a huge competition from the ladies. Actually, when I was interviewing them, there were 2 ladies and him. He came out very strong as the only man in that panel, and and he came out with the youthfulness that he has, and the women were overwhelming him, but he pushed back hard, and he was hitting those points like bringing the unity. One thing I kind of got lost from all of them, however, is the empowerment of how our community can create wealth. As it is today, our community is rich. We only have money, paycheck to paycheck. We can consider ourselves rich people, but we are not wealthy. So the one thing that all of them means, if you will, is how to empower the community to start creating wealth, because we have to create wealth if we have to be successful. You know, when it comes to big ideas are driven by wealth. People who are wealthy have a say. That's one thing that I think we might want to investigate and bring into Mwanyagetinge somehow, in some way, shape, or form, so that our people start thinking in a different way. How do we create wealth? That's something that I think once a new office is up and running, we want to see how we can support them to start empowering our people to bring an idea of how to create wealth. Because once we have the wealth, our voices will be heard.
Thank you. So good. So Edwin, I'll bring you in. We're done with the candidate and the performance, but let's take a few minutes here to look at the whole picture for the community. And I think Sarah highlighted quite a good number of points there. Thank you, Sarah. So what are some of the key areas really as a community we should be facing? And we should be more, you know, it's one thing to come on the show and talk about what they want to do. We know sometimes that happens, you know, it's talk, but it's not action. But what are the key issues that we should really be addressing as a community so that we move forward in a better way?
You know, if you just reflect on the current events since the death of George Floyd, one can argue that the idea of an identity has become a very strong conversation. I know I have it at my kitchen table with my children and my family, and so it is extremely important that as a community we start putting a lot of emphasis on how we build strong families. So I think that's a very significant push that all the candidates have to be aware of, that without strong families, our community cannot be strong. We cannot stand. I think the second piece is that we have a culture, I believe, that is strong, a culture that is based on care and compassion. We're very ambitious people. We like progress. And we would like to continue to impart that in our younger generation. So our candidates need to address the idea, how do we connect our culture with our children that are born here? How do we bring the context into the fore so that they actually value who we are, where we come from, and some of the things that have made us strong over the years. I do think that ultimately there is going to be a need for us. If you look at our community, I think Gerald said we are relatively well off, but I feel that at the end of the day, the candidates have to tell us, where is the inspiration going to come from? For all the people that are really highly trained in our community, accomplished professionals, how do we link these people to our children? So I haven't had any one of them talk about making mentorship a key part of how we connect the generations and how we impart this idea that, yes, this is the land of opportunity, but you can chase opportunity until you get your social security check. If you have a mentor, on the other hand, you can rise above and go further than anyone imagined. And so for me, I think those are really three key pillars that the candidates have to address to see how best we can support them if they get elected. But they have to address those three issues.
Okay. Well, thank you. Jared, you're uniquely placed of the three of us or the four of us. I think you're uniquely placed. You have been in the office. You know what they're going forward for. We don't know what happens in there. There's been a tendency in the community, and I want you to speak to this. Without due respect, a sense of not so much respect for those ones who've been in the office. I think the assignment has been they failed the organization. They failed the organization. But quite frankly, these are the same people who came here first, laid the groundwork for us to be where we are. Is indeed reasonable for us, honestly, to show some element of respect. And whoever wins these elections, is indeed reasonable for us to involve those ones who've been in the office before.
Yes, I think you bring that out very clearly. Obviously I agree with you. There is need for respect, but at the same time there is need for us to hold people who are in the office accountable. Uh, we have had situations where those in the office have not been accountable, and I was in the office for 2 years, and when I did whatever I did, I said it's enough time for me. I had to work. We cannot have a situation where people are in the office and they're not held accountable. So uh, respect, you earn it. You earn respect. And if you don't work for it, we can't just respect you just because you are president, like I was. I believe wherever I work, I earn the respect. People really listen to me because whatever small I did, I think I earn the respect. So if you ask me, I think yes, we actually need to respect those who have held office for the simple reason these people are coming out to offer free service. It's not paid. They're taking time off from their busy schedules to come and just serve the community. That's one thing. That's what I'm saying. They know what they're getting into. I'm not sure if they do, because I did that for 2 years and it wasn't an easy job. Unless you want to really to have a title, then you can have the title. But if you want to do the job, then it's really a difficult job. It's not easy. We are spread out in several counties in the Twin Cities. These are fast counties, and everybody is looking up to where's Mwanyagetinge when there's a problem somewhere. We're not paying them for gas. We're not paying them for wear and tear of their vehicles. We're not paying them for their time. People need to give them respect for actually even offering themselves to come and serve. Instead of people tearing them down, we should support them, and at least at the very minimum, keep quiet if you can't support them, because you're not paying them for anything. It's just a name to support the community. So I agree with you, absolutely agree with you, that anybody who is offering themselves for free to serve you, actually, at the very minimum, respect that person for the time they're giving you for free. Especially in this in a state where you see people are just working from where every minute counts. So it's very critical, and I agree with you that absolutely we need to respect those who have held office or who are going to hold office in the future. But at the same time, we need to hold them accountable. And like I mentioned, this will earn our respect. And the last thing, because I'm going to step out here in a moment, I'm going to say this. When it goes back to the family and the youth, there is one big, huge gap that I think we need to start building on. The boy child is in danger in the United States. Our boy child. If you notice, as I've noticed, there's a tendency of the boy child is kind of losing the focus here in the United States. If we don't notice, those families that Daktari mentioned about, and what my Sarah has been hammering every minute whenever she gets a chance about family. We cannot have family only when girls are doing well. They're not going to have anybody marrying them. Boys are losing it. We need to talk about that more and more, and every single day wherever we go. So with that, I'm going to raise my case and then wish the candidates well.
In a few minutes, Jared, hold on as we get close. Sarah, I've received a lot of text messages, people telling me that you get three guys you need to talk about. Respect is not just for those ones who've been presidents before, but I think if you look at the discussions on the social media, there's been language that, quite frankly, has been very unfortunate. People saying not very good things. It sounds like we're creating a culture where one's pain is the other person's entertainment. How, moving forward, Sarah, how should we address this issue so that at least everybody in the community lives to standard that we respect one another?
You know, first of all, I was just listening to Daktari before he left, and there's two things. In any kind of, we're humans. In any kind of human relationship or in any kind of entity, be it hospital, be it education, be it any kind of entity where you have a group of human beings together, there has to be a guideline that they have to follow. There has to be rules and regulations, and that's why we have a constitution. For them to have respect, we've given them a leeway. The leeway is they can do what they can do, they can say what they want to say, and nothing is happening. Nothing can be done to them. Somebody can, I mean, if you look at the social media of how things have been going, my recommendation would be if someone is going to be suspended for 1 month, maybe 2 weeks, or maybe 1 week, until they abide to the laws that are supposed to be there. In addition to that, going back, and this always starts, there is a saying in pieces that says, that means the older has to respect the younger, and then the younger has to respect the older. I'm going to kind of change that out to be the leadership has to respect the members for the members to respect the leadership. I wonder why we don't have an impeachment clause in our constitution. Because that gives the leadership the power of, I can be here however long I want to be here. I can do whatever I want to do. And that is where the respect is lost. And once that's lost, we cannot gain it back. Now, my recommendation is two things. For the leadership, there has to be an impeachment clause. If you're not doing well, you're not doing well. We can have you out and have somebody step in and help the organization. The second thing, for the members, if you do not have respect for the chair, because you might not have a good rapport with the person who's leading, you might not like the person who's leading, but for the respect of the chair, you need to respect whoever has been put in that position as your leader. And so for every action, there's got to be consequences. These have to be notated in the Constitution. So if a member is being removed from a group with the clause of what is the Constitution that the members had passed, I don't think there will be any pushback, because this is something that has been spoken with the members together with the leaders, amalgamated and put into paper.
The debate analysis on Friday, well, maybe we might spend a much longer time. So, what closing statement, Edwin, add on to what Sarah is saying, and closing statement.
So we live in a very complex world, and where leadership really matters. And I think on the one hand, as we see people coming up forth to sort of give their best to the community, it's unfair to sort of use underhand tactics to abuse people or to diminish because this is service. I wanna remind everyone that you can only provide service to something that you love. So obviously, these candidates love our community, and you can't serve if you don't have a sense of sacrifice. You're giving up something because you feel very strongly that the community matters, and if you're going to sacrifice, there has to be a higher purpose. Either historical context has suggested that if you do nothing, our community will suffer. And so we should actually congratulate these individuals for coming out, and let's give them their space. I feel that we have to, there is no compromise on the idea that we have to respect those who serve our community. And in the words of JF Kennedy, rather than be very critical of all these people, ask yourself not what the community can do for you, but what you can do to build your community. Thank you.
Oh, very well said. Sarah, you're the lady on set. Closing statement.
So first of all, I want to really say that I am a proud lady, given that we have two aspirants that are on board, Hulda and Ms. Mabera. And I want to say that I admire both ladies and I admire all the candidates that are on board. But as a lady, I mean, come on, I have to really promote my group, right? I just want to say that I'm so proud of them. And I want to say this. It's not just about the passion. It's not just about taking the vote. It's not just about winning. It's about delivering. You have to be prepared for the heat. You have to be prepared to deliver. You have to be prepared to fail. Because honestly, we cannot say that you're going to succeed in everything you're going to promise us. And you have to be ready to be held accountable. Because that is where we go wrong. When we point fingers at you and say that this was not done according to what you had said, accept responsibility. Be humble, and we support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll end here. I think it's been an interesting discussion. Dr. Bogongo, thank you for coming on. I'm sure you had a very busy day, but for the love you have for the community, you chose to stick on, and I'm sure you should be having dinner right now, but thank you for coming on. And obviously on Friday, after the debate, we're going to have a deep analysis. And Sarah, thank you so very much. We had a conversation. You're a great resource to the community. We haven't told you this, but we better tell you on camera. You're a wonderful resource. It's because of you. I knew you were teaching, and I decided I also to be a professor. Thank you. You have no idea how much you've influenced so many people, and most of our community members appreciate you teaching them. So thank you. So again, this will conclude our discussion for today, and for the community, thank you so much for listening. I think something is absolutely happening here. Something good is happening, and we're continuing to appeal to everybody in the community. For the first time, please, let's pull together, let's change for the sake of our community and for the sake of our next generation. I can't thank enough Ben Wuto, who's obviously doing a wonderful job making sure that we bring this live. Thank you very much, Ben, for what you're doing. And then up next, obviously, on Wednesday evening, we're having a representative coming on. Even the white society is now saying it is KDL TV. So we're having that discussion. And then on Thursday, we're going to have one-on-one with Geoffrey Chui, giving his exit interview. Of course, he's done a marvelous job. He will give us insights as to what was and where we should go forward. And then, obviously, the grand finale, we're having that joint debate on Friday at 7:15 p.m. So, and again, out of interest, because I'm a member of the community, and it's possible that I might be biased, to be sure that there is no bias in the final debate, we've tried to bring somebody who is completely out of the community. Sheila Maonga joining us from UK, so she'll be on the show to co-host with me, just to make sure that there is no bias, absolutely, because what we are homing here is to make a very strong, solid community going forward. So, but for us, for tonight, Edwin, Sarah, and Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you and good night.